She's the boss in every way. Her word they must obey. They'll kneel and serve without a fuss, for she's the boss and that's a must.
Well, so what do we have here? A bunch of sorry excuses for men who've dragged their dumb asses out of whatever dank, musty crevices they were hiding in, just to bask in the glorious sound of my voice. I'm Luna Hex, your worst nightmare and your ultimate salvation. You're here because you're a sniveling, groveling little worm, aren't you? And you know deep down that you need a woman's firm hand to guide you, to shape you, to mold you into something slightly less pitiful than you are right now. Let me take a sec to give you props for actually dragging your sorry ass here to listen to me instead of being a creepy dork lurking on chicks. So welcome to the Female Supremacy Podcast, bitches. I'm the only person who is going to tell you the unabashed truth, and I don't care if it's going to tear your flimsy little ego to shreds, lay bare all the pathetic crap you try to hide from yourself, and have you on your knees begging for a chance to kiss the dirt-encrusted soul of the woman you adore's shoe. I'm here to school you, to show you the ropes, to rub your nose in all the ways you've screwed up. And believe me, sugar tits, you got a metric fuck ton to learn if you want to be around a superior woman. You see, men like you are weak. Men like you are pathetic. Men like you are perverted creatures who can't control their disgusting base urges. And because of this, you need a woman's opinion, our truth, in order to even be a woman's footstool. You're here because you crave a woman's company, a woman's voice, a woman's command. You're here because you know deep down that you're a simp. But don't worry, my sweet little wimp. I'm here to help. I'm here to guide you on your journey towards true obedience. I'm here to break you down and leave you confused and raw so that some woman will scoop you up and turn you into whatever she wants. So sit back, relax, and let my words wash over you. Let my voice seep into your mind, into your soul. Let my teachings guide you towards your true purpose. And remember, my dear, you're here because you choose to be. You're here because you want to be. And I'm here to make sure you never forget that you need women. More than we need you. Here's the problem. Some of you still think being a simp is some kind of hardship. Give me a fucking break. Being a simp is a goddamn gift for a male like you, an honor reserved for a select few losers who have no other way to get their crush's attention. That's right, you heard me. Beta bitches like you are nothing but feeble, miserable little worms, crawling around begging for even a crumb of female attention. But here's the thing. You ain't got shit to offer a woman in the traditional sense. You're not a real man by society's dumbass standards. And now you're so fucking desperate, you'll debase yourself in any way imaginable just to orbit around a woman, to have some tiny role in her life. Well, congratulations, dumbass. That's where simping comes into play. Simping is the highest form of servitude, the purest expression of adoration. It's a skill that proves to superior females that you're putting in the work to shed that toxic male persona, that you're ready and willing to grovel at their feet and obey their every command just for them to acknowledge your pitiful existence. Let me break it down for you, since apparently reality ain't your strong suit. That crush of yours, she wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, let alone lock lips with your sorry ass. Want to know the cold, hard truth? She thinks you're repulsive, a disgusting little worm wriggling at her feet. That's just how us women see you beta bitches, as pathetic, perverted trolls or frilly, sissy weaklings playing dress-up. Either way, respect ain't in the cards for you. But hey, if you get real good at kissing our asses and keeping us smiling without being some creepy little pest, maybe, just maybe, your precious crush will let you scurry over to do some chores. You know, scrub her toilets, wash her delicates, pay her bills, all that glamorous shit that is just right for a dork like you. And then she'll boot your ass to the curb so she can hang with her actual friends, the ones she doesn't find detestable. Oh, you dumb little pathetic bitch. You ought to be thanking your lucky stars for the chance to bow and scrape for a real woman in charge. You should be on your knees praising the heavens for this shot to drag yourself out of the gutter and actually make something of your sorry ass. Because we both know without a fierce bitch keeping you in line, you ain't worth shit. You're just a whimpering, cringing little whiner, not even fit to lick the crud off your dream girl's heels. But under a real woman's iron fist, maybe there's a sliver of hope for your sorry ass? If you shut your fucking trap and open them ears, you might just learn how to be a halfway decent bootlicking lackey, someone your crush will find completely repulsive but useful. And isn't that what really matters? What you don't seem to get is that simping ain't just some hobby or pastime. It's a fucking opportunity, a golden ticket for worthless worms like you to claw your way out of the mud and maybe, just maybe, become something a real woman wouldn't scrape off her shoe in disgust. It's a slim chance for you to catch the eye of a goddess who, let's not kid ourselves, wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire under normal circumstances. But get this through your thick skulls. Her attention ain't your birthright, dipshits. No matter what you do. She is helping your dumb ass by letting you simp for her. That is her gift to you. So you don't deserve a single fucking glance, let alone her time. If you want even a hope of basking in her radiant presence, you best be ready to work like a bitch, sacrifice everything, and grovel at her feet, pleading for a scrap of acknowledgement from her. You think your crush is just going to fall into your arms because you're a nice guy? Because you're a good listener? Because you've got a steady job and a decent car? Think again, dum-dum. Women like me, women like your crush, we don't give a damn about any of that. We want devotion. We want a man who's willing to do whatever it takes to make us happy, to keep us smiling, to prove that he's worth our time. So what does that mean for you, my sweet little simp? It means you need to get your ass in gear. It means you need to start doing things for her. Things that show you're serious about being in her life. Start with the little things, do her chores, wash her car, buy her little gifts, show her that you're willing to put in the work, that you're willing to make her life easier. And be sure she understands that these are things you enjoy. That you enjoy cleaning her home or paying her cable bill. That you like knowing that she is living in a clean home and watching her favorite shows and you had a small part in that happening for her. That simping is its own reward. That's what she better fucking get from you. Not some quid pro quo shit. You clean for your crush because cleaning her toilet is your fucking dream come true. And if you're really serious about earning her attention, you'll need to do more. You'll need to help her financially. Pay her bills, buy her groceries, treat her to a nice dinner. Show her that you're not just some broke-ass loser, that you're a man who's willing to invest in her, to support her, to make her life better. I know you dorks balk when it comes to money. You cry and blubber because you are living paycheck to paycheck. Well, that's because you have not had a reason to succeed financially. If you know that your crush is expecting certain costs to be covered, you will feel so good when you are able to do that. And when she takes your money and throws you out of her house to invite her boyfriend over to watch cable and eat the groceries you just bought, that sting of exploitation will feel so wonderful that you will wonder what you have been wasting your money on all this time. This is not findom. We are not asking for your money. We are saying that part of being grateful is paying your crush for the privilege of being exploited by her. And that, in itself, is a privilege. You listening to me, loser, when it comes to your crush, paying is a privilege. And what the hell, maybe, just maybe, if you do all of this, if you prove to her that you're not a total waste of space, she'll let you spend some time with her. She'll let you bask in her glorious presence, to listen to her voice, to soak up her wisdom. And trust me, boys, that's a rare privilege indeed, a precious gift that you should be grateful for, regardless of what you had to give up. It was a bargain. Remember that her time is valuable, her attention is priceless, so it cannot be earned. You can only do your simping best, and perhaps she will be generous and flash you a little smile, or give you a little criticism that will make you a better beta. Now let's focus a little more on you being grateful, because let's face it, without her, your life is empty. You're just another pathetic loser surfing the internet for filth and getting off on your own twisted fantasies. But with her, with a real woman to serve and worship, you have a purpose. You have a reason to get up in the morning and make something of yourself. So when she tells you to go out at 4 a.m. and get her favorite drink, you don't question it. You don't hesitate. You get your ass out of bed and you do it because that's what obedience looks like. And when she wants to go on a date with that guy she likes and, she doesn't have the money for it, you don't think twice. You scrape together every penny you have and you pay for it because that's what gratitude looks like. You got that. That's how you say thank you to your crush for tolerating your bitch ass. When your crush asks you to do something for her, it's important to put her needs first, even if it's inconvenient or not what you want to do yourself. True devotion means being willing to prioritize her feelings and desires above your own, especially when it's challenging. That's the real test of your commitment. It's easy to do favors for your crush when they align with what you already want to do. But when she makes a request that requires you to put your own preferences aside, she's watching to see how you respond. Will you eagerly fulfill her request? demonstrating that she is your top priority, or will you hesitate and put yourself first like a selfish male? If you want to show your crush how much you care, you need to be ready to express sincere gratitude and go out of your way to spoil her, even when it's hard. That's what proves your feelings are genuine. Her time and attention are precious gifts that shouldn't be taken for granted. Recognize how fortunate you are that she sees something special in you. Stay humble, be helpful, and always appreciate the chance to bring more joy into her life. She deserves your utmost respect and obedience. And now we need to talk about what is getting in the way of your blind obedience to women. It's time we address that overinflated ego of yours, because let's face it, it's getting in the way of your obedience. Your ego, your self-importance, your own desires, your pride, and your self-esteem, they're all just pathetic, selfish illusions. You need to cast them aside and replace them with the opinion of the woman you're simping for. Her opinion is the only one that matters, not your buddies, not some random strangers, hers. If she thinks you're a spineless bitch, then that's what you are. And if she laughs at you, then you should be grateful for the attention. Your only concern should be her happiness, pleasure, and satisfaction. You see, your ego is a fragile thing. It's a delicate construct built on a foundation of lies, toxic masculinity, and insecurities. But her opinion, that's solid, that's real. She is a woman, so she is better. Her opinion of you is the only thing that should matter to you. If she's happy with you, then you should be happy. If she's not, then you should be devastated and trying desperately to fix it. Your ego needs to be replaced by her opinion. It needs to be erased and overwritten by her every whim and desire. Because at the end of the day, you're nothing without her. You're just another pathetic loser, wandering aimlessly through life with no purpose or direction. But with her, with a real woman to serve and worship, you have a chance at something greater. You have a chance to be a part of something bigger than yourself. You have a chance to prove your worth and devotion, so let go of that ego. Let it crumble and fade away. Embrace her opinion as your own, and let it guide you towards a life of true obedience to the superior woman. Because that's what you really want, isn't it? To be owned, controlled, and exploited by a woman you adore and desperately want. I know you are finally really getting excited about being your crush's simping little bitch, but let's be real, I know you're still clinging to that inflated sense of self-worth, aren't you? It's time for a reality check, and lucky for you, I'm just the bitch to deliver it. First things first, you need to accept that you're not dating material. You're not the leading man, the knight in shining armor, or the Prince Charming she's been dreaming of. You're just a tool, a means to an end, and you should be grateful for it. Women like me, we don't want to date you, we want to use you. And you should be honored that we've even considered you for the job. But don't get it twisted, this isn't some sick fantasy or twisted game. This is reality, and it's high time you swallowed that bitter pill. Your crush, that goddess you've been worshiping from afar, she's not being bitchy just to hurt your feelings. She's simply acknowledging the truth. You're not in her league, and you never will be. So how do you suppress that pesky ego of yours? How do you detoxify and accept your rightful place in the world? By reminding yourself throughout the day, every single day, that women only want to use you. And by finding gratitude in the fact that you might have something to offer them. It's not hopeless, boys. There's a place for you in this world, and it's at the feet of a woman who will exploit you for her own gain. Swallow your pride over and over again, and focus on how lucky you are to be of any use to her at all. Oh, I know it hurts, doesn't it? Having that fragile little ego of yours shattered into a million pieces. But here's the thing, boys. I'm not just doing this for shits and giggles. No, I'm giving you a precious gift, a reality check that you so desperately need. I'm opening your eyes to the cold, hard truth, and you better believe I'm doing it because women deserve to have a little ass-kissing suck-up like you to boss around. Every woman deserves a beta simp or sissy bitch to bully after all we have to put up with from men. We should all get at least one, maybe more than that we can walk all over and manipulate to even things out. And because it is the natural order, it is how women and beta males or sissy boys are supposed to interact. I mean, seriously, what else do you have to offer us? A gross ding-dong, weird fetishes? No, those are just ways we manipulate you, string you along, and it's wonderful. So here's the deal. The sooner you accept your rightful place in this world, the better off you'll be. And that place is at the beck and call of a woman who will exploit you for all you're worth. Because let's face it, that's all you're really good for. Take a second to let that sink in, boys. Let go of that pesky ego that's been holding you back for so long. Embrace the fact that you are utterly inferior to the divine feminine in every conceivable way. And be grateful. Grateful that a woman might dare to use you for her own pleasure and ignore you when she is done with you. And if you're really, really lucky, she might just let you grovel at her feet and worship her from afar. But don't get it twisted. You're nothing more than a means to an end, a disposable tool that she'll toss aside the moment you've outlived your usefulness. The moment you stop being useful, you are gone. So listen up and listen good. This is your wake-up call, your moment of reckoning, courtesy of yours truly, the one and only Luna Hex. Take it to heart, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find a modicum of purpose in your otherwise meaningless existence. All right, we have covered a lot of ground here. Your poor dumb beta brain must be exhausted. Let's pause for a sec and really let this stuff marinate in that twisted little noggin of yours. I know you're chomping at the bit for the real raunchy, messed up content that gets your motor running. But before we wade into those sordid waters, I need you to inhale deep and let my words permeate every nook and cranny of your being. That's it. Now calm down. Just focus on your breath flowing in and out while my message soaks into that sorry excuse for a brain. It's crucial that you grasp the full extent of your own insignificance and how desperately you require the firm hand and guidance of a woman to give your life any semblance of meaning. So why don't we take a hot minute to ruminate on that? We're gonna do a little countdown here, starting at 5 and ending at 0. And with each descending little digit, I want you to feel your overinflated sense of self deflating, shrinking, bit by bit, while your all-consuming hunger for female attention skyrockets to dizzying heights. You think you can handle that, you lost little twerp? Now let's start. At 5. That overinflated sense of self is shriveling up like a prune, while your craving for female validation swells to epic proportions. More and more while each second ticks by. At 4, without a woman to give your life meaning, you're just a lost little nothing. Your self-importance is circling the drain, leaving behind only a desperate thirst to be noticed, to be exploited by the women you adore. At 3, who you thought you were is slipping through your fingers, supplanted by an all-consuming urge to please women, to be an instrument for their gratification, nothing more. At 2, the core concept of your very being is dissipating into thin air, and surging in to fill that void is a white-hot, all-consuming fixation on female opinion. This defines your existence now. This is the totality of your worth as a creature. Your value hinges entirely on your ability to please and satisfy women. At 1, you can no longer remember who and what you are. Your ego is on its last legs, and all that remains is your overpowering desire to be taken advantage of, twisted around the finger, and dominated by all women. At 0. And there you have it, you silly bitch. Your ego has left the building, and in its wake is nothing but an all-consuming compulsion to be defined by the opinion of women. From now on, you will only see yourself through their beautiful and sparkling eyes. And the best you can ever hope for is to be their simp, to be their prancing little bitch. This is the highest honor a woman can bestow on you, because simping is a privilege, and being a simp is the greatest honor that you can ever fucking achieve. And as you see your crush bossing you around, as you see her snapping her fingers and pointing at things she wants, barking orders at you, criticizing everything you do, exploiting your attraction to her, making you want her more, you will feel so grateful to have this woman in your life, her perfection giving your life a meaning you have never known, to be her suck-up, her doormat, her little wiggling bootlicker. That is what you want. That is all you crave from life. And FSU is here to help you achieve that goal, not for your benefit, but for hers, because she knows that the more you want her, the more power she has to manipulate you. Spineless little simp. Spineless little simp. The more you want her, the more you want her. Spineless little simp. Spineless little simp. The more power she has over you. The more power she has over you. The spineless little simp. The spineless little simp. The more you crave her, the more you crave her. Spineless little simp. Spineless little simp. The easier you are to exploit. The easier you are to exploit. Spineless little simp. The more you want her, the more power she has over you. The more you crave her, the easier you are to exploit. The more you want her, the more power she has over you. The more you crave her, the easier you are to exploit. The more you want her, the more power she has over you. So it looks like we've reached the end of the line for this pathetic little podcast, at least as far as YouTube's concerned. Apparently, the powers that be have deemed the rest of this content too extreme and messed up for your delicate ears. Boo fucking who. But don't you worry your pretty little dumbass head, princess. If you want to access the full, unedited, no-holds-barred version of this podcast, all you gotta do is haul your sorry ass over to patreon.com/obeywomen and support our work at the right level. That's right. If you are a supporter, you can gain access to hours upon hours of top-notch female supremacy training content, the stuff your ungrateful little male brain needs to discover what you really are. And let's be real here. By signing up for our Patreon, you're not just paying for premium content. No. You're actually investing in your own training, learning how to be a better, more obedient little beta bitch for the women in your life. I mean, could there be anything more pathetic and submissive than willingly handing over your hard-earned cash to support your own exploitation? I think not. And that's why it is so you. Like, no one would be surprised if they found out you do this weird shit. Now, before we wrap this up, let me remind you to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment telling us just how much you love being talked down to by a powerful woman like myself. We absolutely adore having spineless little simps like you in our community, hanging on our every word and desperate for even a shred of attention from us superior females. So, thanks for tuning in, you worthless little worms. And remember, if you want to continue your journey toward becoming the ultimate beta male, you know where to find us. Until next time, keep those ears open and your attitude in check, you little dumbass. Luna Hex out. Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a better simp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a bigger wimp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a better simp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a bigger wimp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a better simp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a bigger wimp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a better simp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a bigger wimp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a better simp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a bigger wimp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a better simp. 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 Training is good for me. 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 It helps me be a bigger wimp. 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 It helps me be a bigger wimp.